Alright, welcome back to another episode of Disco Elysium. Last episode we talked to Everett and actually didn't get... Well, actually, no, we did get a lot out of him. We know that the Hardy Boys at the Whirling in Rags are the ones who murdered our guy. But they're kind of protected by the undercover gardener. But they're apparently going to work with us, so... So in this episode, I think we're going to get keep getting reality lowdown from Joyce. We're going to look at that envelope that Everett gave us, because we can't even do that yet until tomorrow, but... And it's almost time for the smoker in the window. Or in the... We can actually go to his apartment now. God, she's got a lot of stuff that's legendary that I can't do. Alright, let's start with this envelope. You take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period, and a zoning plan in the addendum. Look at the zoning plan. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some the bow of some great modern ship. Apparently it's going to cover most, if not all, of the street and the square between the existing houses. It's 3 stories tall. It's going to be awfully close to the already existing buildings, almost wall to wall, practically integrating them into the youth center. This is either ominous or cool architectural choice. Hard to say. My money is on cool. Looks like a cubic pyrite. Oh. Cool cubic pyrite. Damn. What do you think of this, Kim? I'm no property lawyer, but it looks fine. Lieutenant replies, flipping through the documents. I like the print size. They're not selling or leasing anything. It's not a perfect solution, but he shrugs. Let's do it. There is no loophole. The simple truth is the current residents are going to lose their street access for the next 12 to 40 months. Their lives will be dominated by constant construction noise right next door. What are the ramifications of this? Once the construction starts, it'll probably take a few months, a year maybe, for even the most stubborn occupants to get tired of living like this. After that, they'll sell their property for cheap and move out. Look, Kim, these people are going to have to move away. Can we do something about it? I should have seen it. The lieutenant frowns as he reads over the document again. Everett probably has eyes on us, but he pauses to think. We could try to get other people to sign this instead of those listed, or you could forge their signatures yourself. By the time he finds out, we'll already be gone. However, we'll need access to the coast before we do anything. Everett won't believe you got villager signatures if you can't even get to the village. You can try a forgery as soon as we can cross the water lock. Okay. And then we also... I don't want to pass out again because it's the apricot chewing gum, just like the smell of the smell coming out of a compartment in our ledger. But let's interact with it. Yeah, there it is again. The scent of apricots with a touch of cinnamon. Smells like the end of some distant summer, the surface of another planet, or some ancient temple. Ancient temple. That is interesting. Ancient temple? Yes, from the height of antiquity. A long, long time ago, millennia ago, on an island of time you can never return to. End of summer. The sun sets into the sea, but the water does not boil. Instead it turns to liquid gold. For a moment, the world's store of precious metals seems to increase dramatically, and you are rich. There is movement next to you, the shuffle of a small coat, warm like the evening. But when you turn toward it, there's nothing there. Where did it go? Why are you talking to a gum wrapper? Come back. Damn. Take a deep, deep breath. Bitter, citrus, sweet. It seems to grow stronger, like a glow with every breath you take. Until a blossom of skin and flower petals erupts in behind of your closed eyes. Made of toffee, cream, and distance. You just had to take a dive. Feels so familiar. Oh no, do we want to do this thought? We have some extra points to internalize more stuff. Because I don't want to use points to forget. So. Wait, let me read this first. -1 reaction speed, living in the past. You have found a trace of entity who's been stalking you across the plains, the gloom stalker, the conglomeration, the shadowy organization behind your downfall, possibly connected to the dreaded X something. Granted, it is impossible to determine its true identity, but you can remember where you first smelled its treachery. Yes, use the Tutti Frutti gum wrapper. Reconstruct the day you first breathed in her untrustworthy atoms. 5 hours. -1 reaction speed. What is our... Ours is 4? That's not that bad, I don't think. We can internalize that. I want to see where this goes. I might eventually get rid of this as well, because I don't want anything giving negative stats. -1 encyclopedia. That's actually yeah, that's perfectly fine. Encyclopedia is annoying. Okay, so keep asking Joyce questions about reality or return later. She'll be here whenever you need the info. I guess we can talk to her and then talk to the smoker. It's gonna be a lot of reading though.
What can I help you with?
Joyce has a lot of dialogue. Got with some more questions about reality. More lessons in basic reality? She's positively surprised. My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Oh, I think I have reduced to spirit decor, so... What is reach for something fundamental? I wanna see if I have anything that reduces it. I probably do. Oh, +1. Okay. Is that the same thing? Yeah, so it's just better. So authority. And the book gave us minus as well, right? Oh, +1 Inland Empire. Hey, I like the way that he holds it. Okay, and the other thing I was going to do was smoke to get that the task done, and also +1 intellect. So that won't be our. Damn, that won't do anything for the psyche. So, but that's okay. Ooh, electrochemistry? Yeah. There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. The first Smokes platoon. 20 brave souls standing in salute, ready to step into the fire for you, sir. Pull one out of the pack. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting for? Light up. Re-become yourself. Light it up. Get a load of this rock and roll cop here, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter out of his pants. With a flick of the thumb, there's fire. A primal satisfaction. Here we go. What are the repercussions if I do this? Repercussions? There's a high risk of glory with a mild chance. Cool genius. Smoking makes you into an intellectual. Everybody knows that. It will help you concentrate a bit. That much is true. Dip that bad boy in the flame and breathe in. And I'm gonna do that before I die. thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and soul. Nostalgia for yourself. The man you were in the youth. Johnny Thundercop is back, and he's chill as balls. Task complete. Find smokes. Leveled up. Cool. Smokes button. Click to gain 1 intellect. Yep. This is good before a white check, but damages your health. Yeah. Cool. Let's put those back. Just get the bolt cutters out again. And we might need to get some health charges
You're
or
back. Good. What can I help you with?
or just increase endurance again. Damn, it's 4? Oh, it's... I don't know why I thought it was Inland Empire, that ledger I'm holding, but that's real low. Okay, let's just do this first. What is reach for something fundamental? What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air? What world is this? What world? The fading pearls of her eyes look into the sea. The only one, I suppose. The world of matter and its pale antipode. The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water. What do you see? Great bodies of water, forest-covered surfaces, clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage, we all have. This world is enough, she concludes. There's a term of endearment they coined for it in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included. What is it? Elysium. Wait, is this the one with the evil apes? Elysium, the world needs a term of endearment. The world does not deserve... The world needs a term of endearment. It does. There are those who would call it hell. What is hell? A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the petrofascists. I don't feel like I've gotten the whole picture yet. Oh, you want a picture of the world? She raises her fingers to her lips. There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit. How come? Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways. How about, it's a ball? That's looking less and less likely, Detective. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s. Occident Revachol grade, the ORG. There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three, they're piecing together dark gray corona. Corona? Yes, she pauses. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are gray flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago. Cold fear seeps into you. Yeah, wait, what the hell are you telling me? You seem to be spooked. Please don't be. Her voice becomes homely calm. She lets a moment pass. The pale? And what do you mean the corona? They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swaths of land disrupted by nothingness. I'm sorry, dear, she looks around. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the great questions of our time. Maybe when they are getting complete set together, it'll jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound. Fractured corona doesn't feel like it's going to bring anyone together. You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effective geometry of these images that depict our world from below low orbit. She looks up. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it. Well, if you say it's disco, see, everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities. Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. The lieutenant observes you both, silently. He adjusts his glasses. We can try this, though. Maybe we should ask about other stuff first to increase this. You said the Pale. What is that? The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality. Yes, the lieutenant looks at his watch. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. We do have a case to attend to. Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else. What do you mean it's not part of reality? Ma'am, he turns to her again. Remember, you're dealing with a very sensitive and impressionable police officer who's still recovering from a recent medical episode. The lieutenant's right. Let's change topics. What do you want to know? Anything. Maybe I should get that book on the Pale in the bookstore as well. It's not going to happen with the lieutenant present unless you can convince him to step aside. I do have pretty good volition. What times are these? These are unimportant times, Detective. Puts her finger to her lips, then points at you. You and I were born after the dust had settled, a 1,000th of a second too late. Too late for what? For the big time. Her eyes light up. There's a flash of teeth. What's that? The revolution. What is this revolution I keep hearing about? It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next. Who gets shot in the head and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Would you say it was a bunch of apes duking it out, just like my limbic system tells me? Why, of course, we're talking Duke Out Central, full swing interspecies warfare. And the apes, were they evil? No, I would say the apes were neutral. She looks at you, her gaze sharp. They're good apes, actually. I don't know about that. She turns north to the bombed-out buildings lining the waterfront, then shivers slightly. Who got shot in the head? Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them as well. So well one forgets they even existed. Did they shoot back? Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. It's really a kerfuffle. It was a kerfuffle, alright, the lieutenant mumbles from behind his notes. Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it. Anyone else get shot in the head on the opposing side? Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king, just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in grade. I loved that king. Fucking communists. Cowardly king. I prefer the term risk-averse. King Guillaume was nobody's fool. He could smell a PR disaster brewing, so he got out alive and his nephew Friesel got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. Who got the mineral rights? Liberals got the mineral rights. She looks up at the sky, then inland at the crumbling city. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. How did the liberals win it all? They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember? We. She's one of them, of course. If everyone got shot, who was there to surrender to? To foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. You just said the liberals took everything. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. She stomps her booted foot. The ocean, the laws, and the people. Who's that? Coalition of Nations. Grade, Mask, Vesper, Messina, Oranje. Or is it Orange? I think there's a loading screen pop-up that says it's Oranje or something. And Sur le Clef. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do. Moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist. The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moralintern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of the gray sky. For a moment, there was hope. Not just, if always picking the option that doesn't commit to anything, then hell yes I am, and also not. Not just technically, practically. For a moment, there was hope. A devout man of the center, she nods. Hard to come by. It's good to have someone who takes a moderate approach to head shooting. In your line of work, I mean. When was this kerfuffle? Turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02, on the Great Isola, though by the end nearly the whole world had gotten involved. Who started it? It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarath? Particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grade proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. What did this Zarath do? Made people overthrow their governments. Really? Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. Where did it spread from there? From Revachol and Grade? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. What came next? Why, you and I, officer. She spread her arms, raincoat flapping in the wind. Our lives in the zone of control. Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have a necktie? Pair of pants? Our lives are very different from each other. No doubt, but we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you'd think. What is the zone of control? City-state divided into free market zones, under the everlasting interregnum of the coalition of nations, and you, of course, the citizens' militia. The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill, Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage. The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. What happened to the rest of the world? Modernity. They developed the marvels of interinsulary communication, telematic milius, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, they're in Revachol West. The aftermath continues for the 5th decade. 51 minus 8, 43. Hey, you're saying it's been like this for 43 years? Time flies. What have we been doing all this time? The 20s saw a decade of urban war. West of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to 19 was simply hell. And after? The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. That's when they discovered disco. Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. The Isolar-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are. Welcome to reality, baby. For her to be where she is in Wild Pines must have picked the right... For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side. Which side was Wild Pines on? They picked the winning side. That's why they're here and others are not. They chose wisely. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have been on the king and led the Pines to doom. Or I might have bet on the king, and led the Pines to doom. You would have sided with the king? I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too, she thinks. Perhaps it's better if I was born when I was. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Capri, Tricentennial. So I suppose it would have been I would have been in good company. What would you have done differently? Oh my goodness. Good question. What would you have done differently? I would have sought a medical solution. Sounds like Zarath drove those people mad. I would have killed more. 400 million if that's what it took. I would have sought a medical solution. So a quarter of humanity, she calculates, simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with the technology 50 years ago? With privatized healthcare and a work ethic that does not turn you. Yeah, maybe it was impossible. Yeah, it is a prion. What happened had to happen, and always will. Always, she nods. That's the can't do attitude that truly defines late modernity. You may prove a modern man yet. Lieutenant puts down his notes for a moment. Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM. She turns to him. And what is your official position, Lieutenant? My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the Revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir. Understandable. It's enough about the times. They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know? Not so fast. Who's she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer. I want to know what you are. She won't maneuver her way out of this one. What are you? I am the vilest of the vile, she says with a sudden flash of teeth. A traitor. Devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra. She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine. Dios mio, a liberal. I don't understand what's so vile about that. Haven't you heard? She nods pedagogically. Pedagogically. Jesus, I don't know that word. I'm a nether creature of the forbidden swamp, one of those who pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. I can see you thought I'd gone extinct. No sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a centrist at heart, a real moralist. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening? In your green eyes you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride. I forgive you, but only because you're charming. Aduil, she pronounces, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly. Vile Duil, shake your head slowly. I hope so. I hope we are able to continue as friends despite my scaly bulk, and the insanity, bloodshed, and transfer of wealth that took place here. It was not the plan all along. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of the survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. She turns her gaze to the Delta. This was all our last generation managed. Would you have done something differently? With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition, not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Marine or Delta beachheads either, if not for my own sake. She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them. Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it. Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes, an oil fire on the ocean. You're a patriot? Yes, I suppose I am, but I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here. Seditious talk, ma'am. Kim puts down his notes and gives her a look. You're a smart woman. Perhaps. Her earrings chime as she nods. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing. You're no dummy yourself. So am I. Smart boy getting smarter, one basic term of reality at a time. You have daughters? Yes, whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. She closes her eyes, then opens them again. Now shall we return to reality? What is this? Spread your hands. A bird? She tilts her head. A sphinacid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Keep guessing. Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. Joyce raises her eyebrows. You're an ancient ruin, a symbol of hubris and decay, half submerged in some salty sea. You're saying I'm ruined? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. I meant, what is this place here? Ah, she spreads her arms almost as wide. This is the pier of Rue de Saint Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. What is that? pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see, and new buildings battlements, after Le Bâtiment Nouveau. But 33A and 33B are not nouveau. No, God, my French is not great. Nouveau, I thought it was nouveau. Nouveau. They're old. She looks up the crumbling facade. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. And who lived in them? Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat splat from the dilapidated balcony. Cindy the Skull gives Joyce the evil eye, her red paintbrush held to her throat. Wonderful. What is that? Point to Cindy the Skull. The girl in the old lady rags? Yes. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of the teen infraculture. Infraculture? Yes, when you and I belong to the superculture. We're common, the herd, the music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant. Those are all too popular for a girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture, with her own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There's no refuge from the superculture. I understand everything. Make it more complicated. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. She pauses to take a long, leisurely sip of tea. Alright, what next? Suddenly you're not so sure you're part of the superculture. I think I may be part of an infraculture. Her eyes go round with surprise. What would that be? Disco. I can see that, yes. I dabbled in those dark arts myself. Not so long ago. She smiles enigmatically. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supercultural phenomenon. All permeating, downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. You disco? Those days are long behind me. She looks inland with sarcastic wistfulness. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new? The new, a cultural era. The name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now, she raises her eyebrow at you. Champagne? That doesn't sound like anything I'd be into. I'm straight edge. Of course, you're much more grounded. A serious detective on a case called Reality. Speaking of, is there anything else? I think that's all for now. Because now we can go talk to the man on the balcony. Forget how to get there. I think you can get there through the apartment. Oh, there it is. Ooh, multiple things. Maroon glow of light pollution rises from the east. You hear distant traffic. Night is falling on the city. Of course I've thought about quitting, but for what? Kim! Where are you going? Come back to me, Kim. Don't go through the wall. Kim! Oh, he's coming out. There we go. Thank you, Kim. Spooking me, jeez.
Gendarmerie, you found me.
The young man on the balcony gives you a bright smile before taking another drag from his cigarette. His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant street and motorways flashing like diamonds. "Yeah, the cleaning lady let us in,"
Beautiful.
he replies, smiling. He looks at you. Something sparkles in his
So
eyes.
tell me, are you here to make things right again?
That's what I'm aiming for, yes. A nearby street lamp casts shadows on his chin, drawing out the slender cheekbones.
I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you, and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting.
By the way, I'm really digging the view here. That's why I chose this place. He looks away, his cigarette and glowing in the dark. Martinez is special, isn't it? Wait, suddenly you're digging things? The lieutenant whispers to you, shaking his head. Why would I want to meet your friend? Trust me, you do. Very well, I'll talk to him, but first I want to talk to you. I have so many questions. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me. Takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up one by one. Besides, I've got to run. He's going to leave you alone again. That's sad. Something tells you you're never going to talk to an individual this cool or mysterious ever again. But I just found you again. Just look at it. He gestures toward distant motorways, all leading to Golden La Delta. It's a beautiful night. Who's going to stay in on a night like this? Only if you promise that we'll talk again. It's important. Something flutters in the corner of the lieutenant's mouth as you're saying those words. We'll talk, the smoker assures you, brushing his hand through the hair. Just not tonight. Take care, all right? He says with another disarming smile, before slipping off into the night. And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him. There's something so different about him that I just can't put my finger on. Different, of course. His shirt. Why is his shirt always unbuttoned? His shirt. The lieutenant squints his eyes, trying to hold back laughter. His shirt. His shirt. He's trying to dive deep into the mysteries of his shirt. No, I don't know why his shirt is always unbuttoned. His mouth tightens as though trying to hold something back. He's barely holding it together. It's all he can do to keep from bursting out in laughter. Come on, detective, let's go. We've got a potential witness to interview. His Sunday friend, remember? Fine, Kim. Let's go in. But I want to know why he's so cool. Ooh, free experience. This is gonna level me up, I think. Quarterly business magazine. That does give me one. Okay, it does give me one orb per, or one experience per. An exquisite canopy bed made of metal. Dish of soak in a pot. An empty ashtray. Flyers for underground parties. Excuse me, a Samarin conical hat? +1 logic, -1 suggestion. A. Oh, Party Dragon Silk Robe. Drama and electrochemistry. Old photo of the same apartment, dated year 01. Buckets of paint on a layer of old newspapers.
You have acquired the hat. Keep it, officer. It looks good on you.
His hands are clean and well manicured. This is a man who knows the importance of
My name is
appearances.
Charles Villedron. I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stability on assignment from Sir Leclerc. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I'm here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
Hanging? What a drag. He seems like a cultured gentleman. You should ask him about the finer things. point to the hat. We'll get to that right after you tell me the story behind the
I got
salmon
it from
hat.
the head of the Samoan delegation on my trip to Lomanfang. It's made from a special charcoal-colored bamboo. It's an emblem of the formal normalization of our diplomatic relations.
He's alluding to the decade-long War of Independence while deftly brushing aside the complex causes behind the
That's
conflict.
really all I can tell you about it.
He forms a little rooftop with his fingers. Cold air seeps in from the balcony. Lieutenant takes out his notebook and nods to you to proceed. What's an official like you doing in Martinez? Coalition's only looking out for the price stabilité. He raises an index finger. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. Must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. So you're some kind of bureaucrat? Yes, as I said before, I'm a commissioner from Sur Leclerc, working for the Institute of Price Stability. He glances at his watch. This is one of the main projects of the moral intern. What are you doing here in this apartment? Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happens when the coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived. What's the international community? La Communauté Internationale is what Rivacholians colloquially call the coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster. And what do I call the coalition? Your employer, technically speaking, the government authority of Rivachol. The RCM is but one part of its provisional administration. What is the price stabilité? It is the most important thing. That clears everything up. It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stabilité is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment, which is essential for maintaining the social stabilité. Basically, it makes sure the price of bread doesn't change. Précisément. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stabilité works to keep inflation just below 2%. 2% of what? Not too far below, no. Two below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%. You're not answering my questions at all. The coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stabilité. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet? Sure. Sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'etre for the moral intern. It's the reason why I identify as a moralist. Pats his pockets. But I don't have any leaflets on me today. Wow. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the moral intern's commitment to transparency. Talk about Sur Leclerc. What's there to say? Is a modern urbanized country that measures very high on the Human Development and Freedom Index. Mostly, though. It's known as the executive heart of EPIS. Moreover, it is a great sponsor of less emerged countries. Rivachol is only one of its many darlings, whose progress it supports and cherishes. Darlings? That can't be an official designation. That's nice of them. Oh yes, Sur Leclerc is mega benevolent to its darlings. And Moral Intern. It's an international organization for moralists, hence Moralist International. The Institute of Price Stability is just one of its many mind babies, as is the coalition. So what I'm hearing is that we're moral intern bitches. Doing one's job doesn't automatically make one anyone's bitch. Besides, there are more nefarious powers to work on than the moral intern. Are you a moralist? But of course. Am I a moralist? Well, do you value freedom? Do you believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values? You a moralist, Kim? Me? You've managed to catch the lieutenant off guard, but only for a moment. He quickly recomposes himself. I'm the lieutenant of the RCM, dedicated to maintaining law and order in Rivachol. Very moralist answer. The lieutenant is practiced in the art of putting on a show for one's superiors. Martinez doesn't seem very normal or stable to me. Martinez is something else. What about the rest of Revachol? Revachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means it hasn't yet achieved full democracy, but they're working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking. It's like every time I'm talking to people, I'm choosing option D, none of the above. Is that moralism? Is this option D usually the most reasonable answer? Yes, everything else is super extreme. It's like I'm living with a bunch of lunatics. Sounds like you're a moralist indeed, my friend. Welcome. Moralism is all about compromise and achieving the achievable. It's pragmatic, realistic, and level-headed. An ideology for doers. Are you a doer, my friend? Looks to me like you are. Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? Yeah. You actually witnessed the lynching? Sorry to say I did, officer. This is just the break we've been looking for, starting from the beginning, if you don't mind. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play. He holds out his hands and blossoms his fingers, like a drama teacher setting the scene. The lieutenant is already scribbling down notes. What do you mean, like in a play? It was just so strange. I could barely comprehend what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carried what looked like a body, and then I saw all the surrounded windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this. Sounds like the victim was unconscious, or at least incapacitated. Interesting. How many of them were there? I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10, maybe 8? The lieutenant sends you a sharp look at the mention of that number. Were any of them huge, like 200 kilos huge? That's a giant you're describing. No, they weren't all quite. They were all quite human, so as far as I could tell. What happened next? I went back inside. Were you able to see anything from inside? Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill the poor man. Where'd they go? Those funny squinting men? Oh, sorry, Kim. Were they men? Women? All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly. What happened next? Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. What do you mean nothing happened? They lynched a guy. Eventually their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. Why didn't you call the RCM? He wipes his glasses. You're right, of course. That is what one is supposed to do in such circumstances. I was simply in shock. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add. About what time was all this happening, approximately? All I can say is that it was late. Didn't check your watch? My watch. He looks at his watch as though noticing it for the first time. Oh, yes, now I remember. It was 30 minutes past midnight, give or take. You didn't witness the hanging yourself, did you? No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Thanks for your time. Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM. Can you tell me about your friend? Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him, but he understands the importance of education. He's taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. How did you even two become friends? How did any of us become friends? Bad things happen on the Insulindian Isla. Oil platforms ablaze in the night. Civil wars lasting for years. Finally, the international community is forced to step in. No one becomes friends that way. Au contraire. It's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too. What are you doing in his apartment by yourself? I'm just enjoying the view. A man smiles, nodding to the window. Isn't it rude for your friend to leave you alone like this? We're old friends. Nothing's taboo between us. He comes and goes. I'm sure you'll see him around. He's very active. What's Kedra? Kedra is a candidate member of EPIS, but between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue. That is never going to happen. They entered in negotiations at 21 and it's been pending ever since. But that doesn't tell me anything about Kedra itself. Is it warm there? Cold? Something in between? It's warm, he nods. It's also known for its mandarin trees and dust storms from Supramundi. Kedra's an emerging market, but it still has a long way to go. Maybe that's why my friend's menage decided to emigrate. You still haven't told me who he is. Sorry, who? The man throws a quick glance at his watch. Your friend, the smoker on the balcony. We were just talking to him. But I told you, officer, he's a bright young man, here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It's a cornerstone of our civilization. What's his real name? Officer, you have to understand, I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods of databases, right? Please don't put me in this situation. So all you can tell me is that he's here to study the arts. He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts. Which arts? He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design? Printmaking? Who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. That's all. A moment, officer. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave. Why can't we talk later? It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well. That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to take a look around the apartment. Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space. Let me know if you have any further questions. Yeah, I think that's it. And let me see if anything else
Was there
pops up.
anything else?
Nope, that's it. Damn. So that really doesn't help us. It kinda does. It's interesting that like people knew that it was gonna happen because their lights are turning off one by one. And I'm wondering if there's anything we can do before Kim leaves. At 7 points, that's pretty good. We got a bunch of new stuff, so. Oh, we also need to take a bath, yeah. I think I should put the race enigma on, especially for tonight. Like, unlock this. And put on the race enigma because... Wait, where is it? Advanced race theory, that's what it is. I'm going to internalize that because then I'll be able to talk to Measurehead to finish this task. And then I can ask Measurehead about his tattoos. And he might be able to help me with that. Maybe we can talk to Joyce again. Can we talk to friggin' Kuno S?
Can't believe you didn't take the shot! Fucking cowards! Waved your gun around like a clown. Next time you point that shit at me, you better take the shot.
Okay. Well, I guess we won't be aiming at her anymore because we'll have to shoot her. Am I able to do this right now? I might be able to. I don't think we have anything that gives conceptualization. Oh, that. Ooh. Oh, wait. Oh, the overcoat and the... Okay. So that gives us +2, so we have 6. 58. Please. Damn it. Yeah, why? It's a wall. An ordinary wall. 10 size. So I mostly stop to look at this wall every time you pass by. Kim, I'm unfortunately going to level this up to finish this. I don't know what it's gonna do. Because you see it finally. This wall is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors. Let the conceptual joy flow into your pupils and blossom into thoughts in your brain. All the other walls and all the other houses just make a pilgrimage in adoration of this. The uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft. Color peeled from the very face of God. More. Oh, wall father. Kim, I must paint this wall. Add even more beauty to it. Huh? He sounds tired of it all. Cindy the Skull has all the necessary materials. Talk to her. First, I know you're tired, Kim, but take another look at this wall. Draw nourishment from its beauty. Sure. Lieutenant looks up the wall reluctantly. Back to you. I must talk to Cindy. Get the necessary materials from her. If you must. Hey, there we go. Cool. Okay, let us try these checks with Joyce.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
I've got questions about reality. Oh yeah, I need that jacket. Need the RCM coat on. I think that is it.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
28. Wait, this... Just to be not stupid, this ledger gives authority, right? Minus authority. Okay.
You're
Just
back.
in case
Good.
it accidentally
What can I help you with?
gives minus the spirit to core. We're not going to get it, but, you know. It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you, it's about reality. Kim's about to leave anyway. And I think Joyce is probably going to go on for like 15 minutes about the pail. But I think that is going to do it for this one. Because if we go to take a bath and go to sleep now, we're going to have another conversation with our reptilian brain and limbic system. And that might take quite a long time. And I don't think I want these to be more than like an hour at a time, just because it's really long to watch. But ooh, the foghorn. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this one. See ya.